guys. I hope you are doing great and having an awesome weekend. I wanted to share with you just a few minutes about some things that have been on my heart lately and that I've been really praying about for some personal things for my business. And I wanted to share them with you because I think it's something that all of us need to hear, and it's things that I think a lot of people struggle with. With me, with having a business that is wrapped up in healthcare, and knowing that you want to help people to have a better life and you want to help people to be able to feel good and have energy and to be able to be all that they need to be for their family and their kids and work and everything they have going on, you want everyone to feel energized. And so my whole purpose in doing my business is to help people. That's my heart. I want so desperately to help people. And there's a lot of times, and especially here lately, I've had this very difficult time, and I've just totally stepped back away from a lot of leadership feeling things and kind of just almost took my own little sabbatical and really prayed strongly about what direction my own personal business was going to go in, where my own energies lie, and wanting to make sure that my heart is in the right place in doing my business. I do not ever want somebody to ever feel like that they're just this number dangling out over here. I don't want people to feel like they are just some paycheck, or that the things that I'm doing, that I'm just wanting money from them for something, or them to place an order or something like that. So I've really struggled here lately about that balance and having it. And there's truly a balance, and this fine line between having a business and making money and helping people. And with any business, even if you're not any healthcare kind of thing, if you're if you're selling pots, pans, or whatever, there's still that point of helping the people. You want to help somebody to be able to do the thing that they need help with. You want to meet their need. So I have just really truly just sit and struggled with this, because I don't want to feel like, there's certain tasks that you need to do as a leader, and there's certain things that you need to do and help people with being a leader. And if you're going to be signing people up, or you're going to be doing anything in this business, you have to be able to do the leadership jobs, and that sometimes crosses over, or I feel like that crosses over a line sometimes. And so the other day, I'm in tears, just upset over so many things that were going on, and not bad things, but just things that were happening, and I'm just feeling very very pushed by some other people to do certain things that I didn't feel like were needed. I'm like, that's not where my energy needs to lie, because that creates that feeling of I'm just this number for someone else. They're going to think I'm just looking at them as a number if I have to project this particular thing out there, and I feel like I'm just going to hurt people, and I'm going to hurt more than help. And that, to me, that's not helping someone in this particular situation I was in. So I was very much upset over the whole thing and trying to figure out exactly what I needed to do. Well, through that moment of being so upset, I sat down. I have listened to gobs of people. I listened to people on growing your business. I read books about growing your business. Like every leader I can possibly find, I'm constantly listening to something every day. I've got an earbud in, and I'm heading wherever. Like if I'm driving, I've got an earbud in. If I am cooking supper, I've got an earbud in. I'm listening to something every day. So a lot of times, I will spend a few minutes with worship music, just to kind of get my heart and my mind in the right place. I'll spend a few minutes reading my Bible, doing affirmations to help put that positive into my mind, because there's so much negative everywhere. Just life in general just has negatives everywhere around you. So you've got to put those positives back into your heart and back into your mind every day, and have your mind aligned with your heart, and making sure that you're doing what purpose you're supposed to be doing, like having your purpose. So I do that every morning, every day at some point. And then I'll listen to marketing, either watch marketing videos. Usually it's just listening to it, or I'm listening to Audible, books on Audible. My most favorite, y'all, Think and Grow Rich. Love it, love it, love it. And my other most favorite is Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, which I have the actual books, but I also have it on Audible, and so I just listen to it. So I suggest y'all doing that. If you don't do that, or have time during the day to do those kind of things, if you're sitting at work and you kind of have this mindless thing that you're doing at work, put your earbud in and listen to it, because it makes a huge difference. And that's how I got to this point that I'm about to tell you about. Because if it wasn't for these kind of books and listening to things constantly and hearing things constantly and putting the good back into my mind and into my heart, then I would not have learned this particular thing that I'm about to tell you about. So I'm in this moment having this horrible fight with myself and really with the Lord, because I am thinking, you've brought me to this point. You've brought me this far. I've been doing this for 5.5 years, and now I'm at this point, like this weird crossroad, weird place. Like, what do you want me to do? And why would you bring me here and drop me like a hat, like right here? So I thought, the Lord's not going to do that. He's not going to bring you someplace and then drop you. But I feel like I've been wandering in this wilderness for quite a while, just kind of alone in this wilderness. And I really haven't understood why. And I really haven't known how to help anyone else. I can't really help my leaders because I feel like I'm in this wilderness. And this other book, I'm telling y'all, I read constantly, or I'm listening to something constantly. Feelings Buried Alive Never Die. If you do not have it, I please suggest you to get it, because it has opened, if it wasn't for this particular book opening my mind up and my heart up, I wouldn't have been able to pay attention, because I had already read way back. I've read Think and Grow Rich several times. I've read Secrets of the Millionaire Mind twice. And there's so many things that I still just, I guess, kind of fluttered over and never really thought about. When I started reading the Feelings book, and then I still went back and I've read these other two books again, you would not believe at how they've come alive because of the things that I've read in the Feelings book. Our feelings make a huge difference in everything that we do, everything. If our mind is not where it needs to be, if you are thinking something and feeling something different, then our mind is not aligned. That means we are double-minded, which the Bible says not to be double-minded. The Bible says to have a single mind. So that means that both sides of our brain, our left and right sides of our brain, need to be coherent together. Like they need to be one. They need to be thinking and feeling. Our left side thinks, our right side feels. Those should be the same. You should be able to align those together so that you can do the thing that you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed that if they're not aligned, you can't fulfill your purpose. And as I read that, and then going back and reading these other books, it has just made so much come clear. Well, as I'm already kind of in that moment of reading those books and so many things that they say, like in Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, he talks to Harv Eker, and he talks about when having the poverty mindset. And when you have the poverty mindset, your mind is thinking like so-and-so is rich, and they're probably snotty, and they're probably mean, and rich people are terrible, and like your mind goes there. Your mind goes there. I've been there. I've had that mind of, they're probably snotty people. That's just where your mind goes. Doesn't make it true. Doesn't make it right, but that's where you go. And so he talks about having the correct mindset, like when you have the money mindset, that you look at people and not, you don't look at your business as a means of making more money just to make money and to these people to be a number. He says you've got to think about it in terms of helping other people. He said that he always had this poverty mindset too, and then when he got rich, he moved into this neighborhood that should have been, that had lots of rich people. And he said, he said they invited him over to their house. These people in the community invited him to their house, and so the entire community had come. And he said all he was talking about, like these charities that they were a part of. Somebody came in and said, "Hey, this children's hospital needs whatever, or this company needs whatever," and everybody's like, "Oh, let me write a check." And so like everybody's writing checks and like handing it to them, and just like he said, it was this whole other atmosphere that he never had thought about ever until that day. And he said, every now and then you'll see a rich person that's just snotty, but the typical rich person is not snotty. The typical rich person is loving and kind, and they want to help somebody, and they want to give as much as they can, and they want to give more. Well, as I'm reading that, I'm thinking, okay, that begins to make a little bit more sense to me. That begins to like open up this other part of my mind. Well, then, yet another book, and I've had this book for 4 years, I guess. I don't know, a really long time. Spirit-Driven Success by Dani Johnson. If you've never heard of her, she is a trainer, and she does a lot of life coaching along with business coaching, but she's, if your family life is not in order, your spiritual life is not in order, then it's hard for your business life to be in order. Like everything has to be balanced, and everything has to be in one, just like we were talking about a minute ago, with your mind being focused. All of that has to be in unison for your business to be able to grow, and that's a lot of what she talks about. Well, this particular book, I have not read. Like I've had it forever, and I haven't read it. I've read like a couple of pages of it, but I never finished it. Well, in the midst of all of reading the other stuff, I thought, I'm going to start reading that book. I want to know, like, this is where I'm at. This is what I need. Like, I've got to figure out where the Lord wants me to go from here. Like, if this is where I need to stay and this business is where I'm at and this is what I need to do, then this is what I need to figure out. I've got to figure it out. Or if it's just simply that he wants me to be in ministry of some sort, like, maybe I need to just change that altogether. Maybe this is not the place for me if the money thing is, if I'm worried about that. Oh my goodness. Okay, y'all. This, like, blew me away. I start reading this book. She's talking about the Spirit-Driven Success. She said she sat in church one Sunday. Her preacher gets up, and he's, like, crying, upset. And he says, I am so sorry that we have put so much emphasis on the ministry of just the church. That only the ministry of the church is the most important thing, that there's not ministry out in the world anywhere else, but the ministry of the church is the thing to do. And she said that for so long she had struggled with the fact that, she said, I felt like I needed to help people. I felt like I needed to be doing more, and she felt the need to tell people about Jesus. But she said, I felt like I was not able to do that unless I went to the church and started teaching at church or being something at church bigger. And she said, I didn't feel like that was really my place either. She said, I felt like she said, it just didn't excite me like it should have. And she was in the corporate world, training lots of people out in the corporate world. She ended up quitting her job because she just absolutely was miserable, because they were telling her how she needed to talk, telling her that she couldn't talk about Jesus, telling her she couldn't do this, that, and the other. And she was like, this is not where I'm going to live my life. I can't live my life this way. I need to be helping people. I need to be doing something bigger. So she went home, started taking care of her kids. And she said, I love taking care of my kids. That's an important place that need to be there. That needs to happen. But she said, I felt empty. And I did not have that joy of being able to help people and to really minister to people in some other way. Well, finally, the more she prayed about it, the more she realized that God was leading her to do something bigger. So she started her own company, her own training, and she said, God, if you will, if you will give me the voice and give me the people to talk to, I will do whatever you want me to do. I will make sure that I do my business and lead people to you. And so that's what she's had. I mean, like, that's what she's done. And so people, like, go to her conferences and they end up asking Jesus in their heart. I mean, like, there's just huge reconciliation of families, marriages saved. I mean, crazy stuff, because she stepped out on the faith that she was going to be sharing the gospel through her business. And she talked about having that the Bible talks about, you know, the priests are, let's see, I was trying to think if I could find that verse. I meant to find it and then I forgot to put my bookmark there. But talking about the priest being the ones, you know, we put so much emphasis on the priest that we don't think about the people out in the world, like the kings being out in the world, and that we are the feet of Jesus. We are the hands and feet of Jesus. And she read a book, and there again, I forgot to find the page. I had my other page that I was trying to hold. But she told the statistics. It was a book about statistics and the influences on people's lives, especially teenagers and the life of people in general, just what influences people the very, very most. Church was not even on the list. The influences, the biggest influences on people's lives were the internet, music, movies, friends, jobs, business, things like that. It was not the thing that we put so much emphasis on, which was going to church. Now, I'm not saying we don't need to go to church. We have to go to church because, you know, God has told us that we need to be, not to forsake the gathering of ourselves together as Christians, to come together and build each other up. But there again, build each other up, edify one another, help each other, love each other, help each other to move on into the place that God wants us to be. Not just randomly throwing us out here, but to actually build each other up and edify one another. That's the purpose of the church. It's sad that I know at one point we were bringing more people into the church, more people were getting saved at church, but now those influences have changed so dramatically. This is where it gets really interesting to me. So I'm sitting here reading this book. I'm getting all into, still in my little tizzy state. So I'm like, okay, Lord, I'm still reading. Like, this is getting interesting. Like, what are we doing here? Are we going to make some big announcements to me in my mind, in my heart? What do you want to show me? So I got to this part of the book. I'm going to read this little part. She said, all I know is God is raising up a new breed of people, a peculiar people who are called by His name to do some peculiar things. He's raising up kings in the marketplace because they have influence. You're supposed to make money because money brings influence. According to this world's standards, money brings influence. Can I tell you that what the three-fronted battle is? The world desires success. The world desires fame. The world desires power. They desire excellence. Why do we watch sports? It's excellence in action. Why do people go to the orchestra? It's excellence in action. Why do people go to operas? Excellence in action. The world desires these things. God is looking for a peculiar people that will trust Him and that are called by His name, that we will be risen up in these places of influence, of money and power and fame. Why? Because you will do what I do. You will point to the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords, and you will say, I got to this platform because I was saved by grace. You will say and you will testify what He has done in your life, just as I am testifying to you right now what He's done in mine. When I read that, everything else didn't matter. Nothing else mattered, because that's what we're here for. Because if it means that we make money to be able to help other people, the more money, if you don't want the gobs of money, that's fine. Give it away. Sarah Harnish says that her goal is to get, like, to live off of 10% and give 90% of it away. That's exactly what Danny Johnson does. She gives 90% of her money away to whoever, and she lives off the little 10%. Do that. Do it. Do it with all your might, with all that you have in you, because we are the influencers. We are the people that are here to share the gospel with everybody else. We're here to show that God is real and that God loves us. My grandmother, I love my grandmother. She's 92 years old, most wonderful grandmother ever. But my grandmother prayed my whole life that we would not have a lot of money, that we would not be rich. Why? Why would you pray that over your child, over your grandkids? Her idea is that rich people are snotty and mean and ugly and rude. They're not godly. And they cannot be godly. It's like you have a choice you have to make, either godliness or not. So if you have money, you're not godly. And that we should be humble and not prideful, which I agree. We should not be prideful over having the money. But me sitting in the spot I'm in right now and not achieving bigger, in my spot I'm in right now, that means we make a good living to support our family. Like, we are doing everything that needs to be done for our family and to take care of us. We can give a little bit. We can do a little bit. But that is not reaching further. That is not changing a life in Ecuador or Guatemala or in the far off regions somewhere. It's not doing any good for anybody else. If I'm sitting going, oh, well, I'm just going to be humble and I'm just not going to reach for any more, I'll do a little bit more and try to make things a little bit easier. Is that changing the life? Is that changing the life of somebody who really feels God's leading for adoption? But they can't because they don't have the money and they don't have any way of doing it. Well, we can get a fundraiser together. That sounds great. Do a fundraiser. That's awesome. So everybody gives $10 and it takes you 5 years to ever get all the money you need to be able to get that adoption fixed. That's not any better at all. So what if you had the money just sitting there? What if you have this 90% of your paycheck that's sitting over here, you're waiting to be able to use? What if that money, you get to go, oh, here, there is your whole 30 or 40,000 or more. I can't even remember. My brother adopted 2 kids. I don't remember how it was a lot. I don't remember it just being a lot. And they did it at the same time, and they were having to raise money, and it was just miserable for them. And then you have to go over there. You have to stay for a while. You have to do all these things. It's like jumping through hoops. It's already stressful enough on these people who are trying to do something they know God's called them to do. And then you have all of these obstacles, and you put money on top of it. What if you have that money sitting there and you just say, here, there is your adoption. But what if you even dream bigger and you get bigger amounts of money and you don't just help one person with an adoption, but you may help 2 or 3 people. You may be able to help, send people as missionaries somewhere. I had other friends who are in Mexico as missionaries, and they spend forever trying to go around and ask people to help fund them to go to do missions that God's called them to do. But then they can't, they have to come back every now and then to raise a little bit more money to help them stay there. That's sad. What if you had the money that paid for their entire year to be in that place? That they didn't have to even worry about it. That you can just hand it to them and say, here, you go take that and you go reach people. Because there's some things I can't do. I've got 6 kids. I homeschool all of them, and I don't have that ability to be able to go, okay, I'm going over here to far off land somewhere. All you little people stay home. I mean, like, I don't get to do that. But what if I get to help somebody else go do that? My brother lost everything in the hurricane. Everything. Has nothing. What if I could say, here, brother, here's all the money that you need. And not even bat an eye to be able to build his house back. Because the insurance didn't cover it all. What if you have the awesome ability to be able to know that somebody who's lost a home, and you get to say for, like their house burnt down or whatever, or they lost a job and they just can't find another job. That would be a huge blessing. And then we have influence, because the money talks, whether we want to think it does or not, whether we like it or not. The money talks, and it's an influence, and it shows other people that you've worked hard for something, that you're not just sitting over here wimpishly going, oh, come on, let's go do this thing, come on, no. It makes you have more confidence that you can tell somebody else and say, you know what, you can work this hard too. You can work hard and you can do this too. And then you can go and share your resources with someone else. You can go help somebody else, and you can go lead somebody else. It just totally opened up my entire eyes to this whole other world that I haven't even thought about, that I haven't even allowed into my mind, because I was more worried and focused on me. And this is not about me. None of this is about me. This is all about what God's called me to do. And it just gave me a brand new fire to think, okay, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. This is where I'm supposed to be. And I'm supposed to be here to make a difference. This company's not perfect. I mean, it's not, there's a lot of things, but life itself is not perfect. There is not one business out there that's perfect. Nothing. Anywhere, ever. People are not perfect. And it's sad. It would be nice to be perfect. I would love to be perfect. But we're not. We're just people. And we're all going to make mistakes, and we're all going to screw up at some point or another. And we're not all going to see eye to eye. There's a lot of things I don't see eye to eye with a lot of people about. A whole lot. But there is truly a balance to this business. There is truly this fine line, which is where I've been dangling over the last few weeks. This line of business and your just members. There are people that just absolutely love your product. There are people who absolutely just want to do the products. And that's a great place where they need to be. And that's where I love on them, and I'm going to take care of them, and I am going to help them any which way I can. And then there's this business side, because there's other people that are desperately in need of having some money, and desperately in need for what we have, to be able to show them that this is a better way, that they don't have to go to this job every single day. My husband works, like yesterday, he worked from 7 o'clock yesterday morning until 1 o'clock this morning, all day long, exhausted. He works for the gas company. It's not an easy job. He works himself to the bone. Like, he works constantly. I'm tired of him doing that. I'm tired of him being to the bone. I'm ready for him to be home. He's missing out on life with the kids. He's missing out on things that we could be doing together. And this business is a way for me to help him and us work together to help ourselves do something different that will change our lives and change my kids' lives. It's just as simple as that. So I realized that that while there is a balance, there's a huge balance. I have the opportunity, the most awesome opportunity, just like Danny Johnson said that she quit one job because somebody was like squelching her voice, like she couldn't talk the way she wanted to. But going out and doing her own thing enabled her to have the voice she wanted. Each one of us have our own voice. Each one of us have something that we bring to this company that only you can share with these people. Only you have something that some of these people are only going to be able to listen to is you. You have something in common with somebody that like I may not be able to relate to some of these people because I may not have the same issue that they have. But at some point, there's going to be somebody else that I relate to better. And that person is part of my group, my vibe, like they say, which I think sounds so goofy, and I really hate saying it, but it's true. You attract your tribe. Your vibe attracts your tribe. And that always just drives me crazy. But it is so very true. And what you put out there is what you're going to see back. Like, you're going to attract the people who are like you. So the better we are, the more people we attract that are more like what you're wanting into your business, which is great. But you also attract these people that you know need help. You're also going to attract these people who may have some of the same issues. I've got a daughter with epilepsy. So that gives me the opportunity to get to talk to people who are in the same situation. My daughter's 18 now, so we've come through so many different things that I'm able to help other people who have small children with that same issue. I'm able to help those people. If I wasn't in this business and I wasn't growing my business, I would have missed out on several amazing friendships over her, because I've been able to talk to people and relate to people over her particular issues. That is huge. That is huge for me, because I can't help but think that her life is here, in which I've told her thousands of times, your life is here to make a difference. You're here for a purpose. You have epilepsy for a purpose. God does not make mistakes. He's got a reason for what He's done and what He's given to you. You have to use it. You have to be, there again, that voice that some other person needs. There's kids out there who need her, that she can relate to and be able to say, I'm sorry. I am so sorry you're having such a hard time. I'm sorry that you're having a really bad day. I'm sorry that you're having to go through this. I know how you feel. We all have a voice. And jumping ship and running away from a business because we don't want to feel like people are a number isn't right either. And I feel like by me staying and being, there was another, his name is Ray Higdon. I listen to him a lot too. So I listen to tons of people, y'all. I love him too, because he's all about, somebody asked one time, or he said people ask all the time, why do you charge for your training? You said you wanted to help people. You say you're all about helping people. Why do you charge for your trainings? And he's like, because even though I do enjoy this and I do want to help people, I still have a family to take care of. You can't do everything for free. I mean, like, that's life. I mean, you have to take care of your family. He can't help the fact that there's thousands upon thousands of people wanting to get, I mean, he doesn't charge much for, I mean, like, it's like $20 for this and $15 for that, and I think something was like $7 or $8. I mean, like, it's cheap stuff, but it's awesome stuff. And he's like, you can go and find thousands of hours of free stuff. Like, he does gobs of free stuff too. And he's like, you still have to make some money. Like, he can't help that thousands of people want those little cheap trainings. He still makes gobs of money through the cheap trainings. He does do bigger stuff too, but still, I mean, when you have that voice, he said, you have the voice, you have to use it, you have to utilize it. But that doesn't mean it has to all be for free either, because you have a responsibility to your family. I had my husband had an aunt one time, and Danny used to do a lot of house stuff, like fixing up houses and everything. And he used to do that for a business. But he also did it on the side for a while. He had a job and then did that on the side. And then he quit his job and started doing that full time and all that kind of stuff. Well, while he still had his job and he was doing it on the side, his aunt asked him to do some work for her. Well, he did. Well, of course, he charged her because we were not doing it on the side for the fun of it. We were doing it because we needed the money, you know. And I mean, like, this was probably 15 years ago, I guess. And like, she got mad because he would charge her money for it. And he's like, I bought the stuff to put it up. I think he was putting trim in her house or something. And I did all the stuff. I did all the work. I bought the stuff. You've got to at least pay me for the stuff I bought. But there again, this is for my family. It's not like I'm just randomly out here doing this. And so I thought about that the other day when I was reading that. I thought, you know what? You know, we have to be reimbursed for our time. We can't just randomly just do things. But I would love to do things, just to be able to do things sometimes. But we can't always do that. But when I've started reading that and realizing that God has raised us up for such a time as this to be able to help these people and to guide people and to help them to see not only health, but through their business, through financing, help not financing them, but like helping them with financial issues, that's a big deal. That is a huge, huge deal. So if you're struggling with this balance, if you're struggling with knowing what to do and how to do it and all of the things that come along with this, I mean, when you've got this heart of service and ministry, there's this fine line. But I mean, even preachers get paid. I mean, still, even though they're in the ministry, they still get paid. So think about it in terms of that. The more you're bringing in, the more you have the opportunity to have, the more you have the opportunity to give. And you can't ever outgive God. God's going to keep on blessing you because you keep on giving and you keep on having that heart. And the more you give, then you're able to actually see those blessings of these other, what you're giving out. Another thing that Ray Higdon talks about is he has a Wealth Wednesday, which I think is the coolest thing ever. And on Wealth Wednesdays, he said, I don't care how much you give. It doesn't have to be anything huge. As you're going to Starbucks and you're getting coffee, pay for the person behind you for their coffee. Give a couple extra dollars when you're eating that day as a tip. Do something. It doesn't have to be huge. It doesn't have to be, he said, it's not the monetary amount that you're giving. He said it's putting your mind in that place of the giving, of thinking as you grow and your business grows and you're making more money, that you are going to be able to give more, that you're going to be able, it's going to get bigger, and those amounts are going to get larger. He said it just drives you. He said, I've done this for years, and it drives me to want to be able to give more. And the more I make, the more I can give. And he said, that's my driving force. He said he's extremely yellow, which I agree because of some of the things he says. But that's huge. That is huge. That's what mindset we've got to have. We've got to put that mindset in our heart that this is not about us. This is about the other person. This is about somebody that's totally in need. And if they see us being able to make some more money, that may spur them on to go, you know what, I can do this. I can do this. If they can do it, then I can do it. That's huge. That is huge. So I hope this all makes sense. I hope that this helps you if you're struggling in this area, because I know I'm not the only one that has to struggle in this area. But I have had like this total peace over the last couple of days after having this realization and God just opening, like bringing this full circle for me, because this has really gone on a couple of years of little pieces, and it just finally came to a head over the past week. And when it finally did, I felt like this explosion, and like my heart was just going to like die. And then God like repaired it all and fixed it and said, this is what your purpose is. You're to be an influence. You are an influence, and there's only some people that will listen to just you. I have a voice and you have a voice, and there's no reason in this world for you not to use it. There's no reason in this world to give up on something and on your dream because of feeling like you need to be humble, or you don't need to like step out more, or that what you're making right now is enough. Because you may be totally quenching the Holy Spirit. He may have you in this place doing what you're doing and to grow your business for someone else that's going to benefit someone else later. You don't ever know. So don't stop. Don't quit. Do not give up. This, you were made for just a time as this. This is what you're here for. So I hope you have a great night. I love y'all. I love each and every one of you. Tons of you I do not know at all, but I do love you. And I hope y'all have a wonderful night, and I will talk to you soon.